There can be no doubt the dueling defamation suits between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have garnered tremendous attention throughout the world.
What have you lost as a result of Ms. Heard making these allegations against you?
Nothing less than everything.
And as with most things these days, a lot of that attention has been driven by social media. From Facebook to Twitter to TikTok to Instagram, posts about the trial have dominated news feeds. Despite Amber Heard changing up her public relations team mid-trial, in the court of social media, there seems to be a clear winner: Johnny Depp.
I love you, Johnny!
According to a report by NBC News, hashtags like Justice for Johnny Depp have reached close to 3 billion views. At last check, polls on Court TV's YouTube channel showed over 80% of viewers remain firmly in Depp's camp, voting they did not believe Amber Heard's testimony. A Change.org online petition seeking to have Amber dumped from her role in Aquaman 2 has reached close to 4 million signatures. According to reports, last week her appearance in the movie was cut down to just 10 minutes. Meanwhile, a petition to return Johnny Depp to the role of Captain Jack Sparrow has reached 600,000 signatures, suggesting the actor could someday return to his beloved Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Jack, move! I'm so sorry, were you still talking?
Social media sleuths have also played a role. One thread focused on suggesting Amber Heard's testimony was drawn directly from a popular movie titled The Talented Mr. Ripley. But in the end, that was debunked. Yet another thread suggested Heard was intentionally mimicking Depp's outfits as part of a psychological game. In yet another, internet detectives claimed to uncover an inconsistency in Team Heard's opening statements. During openings, Heard's attorneys held up a cosmetics pack, claiming it was used by Heard throughout the pair's relationship to cover up bruises inflicted by Depp.
You're going to hear the testimony from Amber about how she had to mix the different colors for the different days of the bruises.
Internet sleuths figured out that the Milani cosmetics pack held up by her attorneys didn't exist during the time the ill-fated couple were together. The outcry led the cosmetics company that sells the pack to post this video to TikTok.
'Cause I'm an international super spy.
The post has been viewed over 5 million times and counting. They also released a statement saying Milani Cosmetics can confirm that the palette in question did not launch until December of 2017. Depp and Heard ended their relationship in 2016. All right, joining me this hour is Deputy Public Defender for Los Angeles County, Philip Dubé, and also trial lawyer Michelle Thomas. Thank you both for being with me this evening. Always a pleasure to have you here on this Friday. All right, so you saw that social media is clearly playing a role in this case. I cannot tell you how much time I spend dealing with folks on social media, and I tell you what, the Johnny Depp folks are fanatics. I mean, they are nuts. You say one thing that's even relatively against Johnny Depp, you are in for it. You'll be on there for hours. So I'm trying to learn to stay away from it. But anyway, Philip, let me start with you. How important do you think social media is and what's going on out there in the social media universe to this case?
Well, in the court of public opinion, it matters because ultimately Johnny Depp is trying to regain his fan base and get future gigs in the movie industry. He does not want to be branded a wife beater, a spousal batterer, or just anybody who hits women. He just wants to disabuse his fandom, his fan base of that characterization. But in the final analysis, in my opinion, all that really matters is that you have a jury of 7 who does not go on social media and is going to assess what went down based purely on what is presented in court and not what is, on TikTok or in Instagram posts or on Facebook, etc. So hopefully the jury will disregard any type of extra judicial social media and rely strictly on the evidence presented in court.
Yeah, Michelle, clearly that's the ideal, but that social media, that group of crazies, as I call them, is working their way into the courtroom every day. They're outside waiting to get in. They're in the courtroom. They've been admonished once or twice by the judge. I think it's clear who they're there for. The jury sees this. Are you concerned at all that that might have an effect on this case?
Well, Michael, I think that is a concern. And then add to that the fact that the jury's had a week off from the trial. There's been this interruption where they've been able to interact with friends, family. And so while they're not supposed to engage in social media and know what's going on in the public sphere, it's kind of tough to say that no one on that jury has been exposed to it whatsoever. So I do think that's a concern. And the impact of the crowd cannot be overlooked in that courtroom every day.
Philip, do you think when they get back after the week, the judge is going to inquire about that? Have any of you come across anything? I would expect, they would expect the jury to, or the jurors to tell them if they came across anything.
Well, there's a presumption that jurors are obeying court orders. Every time they adjourn for the day or for the weekend or for this lengthy duration, they're told, not to converse among themselves or with others or with spiritual advisors or watch any television or, any internet posts on the subject. So there's a presumption that they're following those orders. And just to bring them in to inquire, just to see if they followed that court order might actually be judicial misconduct, because it gives the appearance that jurors did something wrong and all they're doing is just performing their sworn duties when they leave the courtroom. So unless and until there is some report or allegation, maybe in the media or by a spectator, that a juror did something untoward, I think the judge should leave it alone.
Michelle, I'd love to get your thoughts on who you think this break is helping more. Do you think either side is benefiting more by this week-long break?
Well, I think the Johnny Depp team's going to benefit because think about it. They've now had a week to parse through her testimony, to prepare their cross-examination down to a T. So when you have a break like this, it's really just the defense or the other side's dream come true when they are going to be on cross-examination next. So given that they've had this additional time to parse through word for word her testimony to ensure that each exhibit they want to use correlates to the testimony and their and questions in their cross-examination, that to me is going to be a pretty significant advantage for the Depp team.
Philip, I think Michelle is exactly right. And one of the things that's been happening as this week has gone on, as I've been able to sort of ruminate on the testimony given, it's the last thing. So it's, the recency part of the primacy recency when you try cases. As I think about Amber's testimony, the more I think about it, the less credible it seems to me. I don't know if you're feeling the same way, but I think that might be an issue as well.
Oh, there are several things that make me doubt everything that she is saying, okay? I mean, where do I begin? First of all, that old expression from Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, all the men and women merely players. There is no way to predict how she is going to put on the performance of her lifetime. There's just no continuity in her testimony and in her emotions. And it seems like she is able to just drop character and go from being Amber Heard to Scarlett O'Hara, and just put on an act, put on a big show. And I think the jury can see through it. I really do. Plus, she's been diagnosed with a borderline personality disorder, and it's a very unflattering diagnosis. And the doctor who testified was pretty thorough about all the symptomatology that Amber Heard exhibits, and it seems to coincide with how she is behaving on the stand. Not to mention, you have Dr. Laurel Anderson who said, they engaged in a mutual abuse. So if it's mutual, it necessarily implies that, Amber was just as bad as Depp, if you believe that Depp was complicit at all. So, she's not an angel in this. Plus, many civil litigators will tell you, Michael, that when you get sued by a plaintiff, the defendant often files a cross-complaint just purely in retaliation, not because their claim has merit, but they just want to put you on the defense, if you will, and, create a big expense for you as well in having to defend yourself. It doesn't necessarily mean the claim has merit, but we'll see what a jury does.
Yeah, actually, we're going to go through her case and whether she can prove that a little later in this hour. But Michelle, before we go to break, I do want to get your thoughts on her testimony. I mean, Philip seems to feel very strongly that there's a lot of acting going on, like a lot of Johnny Depp fans feel the same way. I'd love to get your take on her testimony thus far.
There's been quite a bit of incongruence between her testimony, the emotions that she's displayed, even from her demeanor when Johnny Depp was testifying. She was pretty stoic throughout, and then now we've got this extreme dramatization throughout her testimony that is kind of inconsistent with how she's been at other times. So I think there's some issues with how she may be coming across to this jury.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that, actually. But again, the further I get away, again, as I think more about her testimony, there's just so many things that don't quite add up, and I'm not sure what to make of it. It's really causing me a lot of problems. I'm sure it's going to cause the jury problems as well.